In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Brendan Fraser was one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. He had the looks, the charisma, and the talent to become a long-term leading man. Whether he was swinging through the jungle in George of the Jungle or battling ancient curses in The Mummy, audiences couldn't get enough of him. At one point, it seemed like Brendan Fraser was everywhere. Then suddenly, he wasn't. The blockbuster roles disappeared. The red carpet appearances became rare, and one of Hollywood's most beloved actors slowly faded from the spotlight. For years, fans asked the same question. What happened to Brendan Fraser? Why did Hollywood stop casting him? And how did one of the industry's biggest stars end up disappearing for nearly a decade? The answer is far more complicated than most people realize. Before he became a household name, Brendan Fraser was just another young actor trying to break into Hollywood. But unlike many aspiring stars, Fraser had something special. He was funny, relatable, and effortlessly charming. In the early 1990s, he began landing bigger roles in films like Encino Man and School Ties. These performances helped him gain attention, but his true breakthrough came in 1997 with George of the Jungle. The film was a huge success. Audiences loved Brendan Fraser's comedic timing and likable personality. But this was only the beginning. 2 years later, he landed the role that would change his career forever. In 1999, The Mummy exploded into theaters. The action-adventure film became a massive box office success and turned Brendan Fraser into an international superstar. His portrayal of Rick O'Connell was exactly what audiences wanted. He was brave, funny, confident, and incredibly entertaining to watch. The movie's success led to sequels, larger paychecks, and worldwide fame. Suddenly, Brendan Fraser wasn't just another actor, he was one of Hollywood's most bankable stars. Everything seemed perfect. He was starring in blockbuster films, appearing on magazine covers, walking red carpets around the world. From the outside, Brendan Fraser appeared to be living the dream. But behind the scenes, things weren't as perfect as they seemed. What many fans didn't realize was that Fraser's action-packed movie career came with a serious price. The stunts that looked exciting on screen were taking a tremendous toll on his body. Years of demanding action scenes led to multiple injuries. According to Fraser himself, he eventually required several surgeries over the years. His body was breaking down from the physical demands of his career. While audiences saw adventure and excitement, Fraser was dealing with chronic pain and recovery, and the injuries kept piling up. But physical pain wasn't the only challenge he faced. Behind the cameras, his personal life was becoming increasingly difficult. As his career continued, Fraser also faced major personal challenges. His marriage ended in divorce. He faced emotional and financial pressures. At the same time, he was dealing with the ongoing effects of his injuries and the physical toll of years spent performing demanding action roles. To the public, he was still the smiling Hollywood star. But privately, life was becoming much more complicated. And as these challenges grew, something unexpected began happening. The major movie roles that once seemed endless started becoming less frequent. Hollywood's attention shifted elsewhere. New stars emerged, new franchises took over, and Brendan Fraser slowly began disappearing from the spotlight. By the late 2000s and early 2010s, Brendan Fraser's career looked very different. The actor who once headlined blockbuster movies was no longer receiving the same opportunities. Fans noticed. Many wondered why one of Hollywood's most popular stars seemed to vanish. The truth is that there wasn't a single reason. Instead, several factors appeared to converge at the same time. His physical injuries limited certain opportunities. His personal struggles affected his ability to maintain the relentless pace of Hollywood. And the entertainment industry itself was changing rapidly. The result was a slow but noticeable decline in major roles. For many people, it felt like Hollywood had simply moved on. But Brendan Fraser's story wasn't over. Not even close. For years, Brendan Fraser remained largely outside the Hollywood spotlight. Then, something remarkable happened. People started rediscovering his work. Fans who grew up watching The Mummy and George of the Jungle began expressing their appreciation online. A new generation discovered his movies for the first time. Suddenly, there was growing support for Brendan Fraser, and eventually, new opportunities started appearing. Then came The Whale. The film would become one of the most important moments of his entire career. Fraser delivered a powerful performance that earned widespread praise from critics and audiences alike. For the first time in years, people weren't asking where Brendan Fraser had gone. They were talking about how incredible his return had become. As The Whale gained momentum, Fraser found himself back in the spotlight. Only this time, things felt different. The public wasn't simply celebrating a movie star, they were celebrating a comeback. Award nominations followed, standing ovations followed, emotional interviews followed. Then came the moment many fans had hoped to see for years. Brendan Fraser won the Academy Award for Best Actor. It was a powerful moment, not just because of the award itself, but because of everything it represented. Years of struggle, years of setbacks, years of uncertainty, and yet, somehow, he had found his way back. Brendan Fraser's story is more than a Hollywood success story. It's a story about resilience, a story about perseverance, and a reminder that even when it feels like everything is falling apart, a comeback is still possible. For years, people asked why Hollywood stopped casting Brendan Fraser. The answer wasn't simple. It was a combination of injuries, personal struggles, changing industry trends, and difficult challenges behind the scenes. But perhaps the most remarkable part of his story isn't the fall, it's the comeback. Because when many people thought Brendan Fraser's Hollywood journey was over, he proved them wrong. And in doing so, he created one of the most inspiring comeback stories Hollywood has ever seen. Because sometimes, the greatest comeback happens when everyone thinks your story has already ended.